So, Sie können Deutsch. Ich bleib drauf. Die Zettel sind...
Hi and welcome back to Afritrida. I'm so glad you're back on here again. And if you are new coming on here for the first time, please be generous enough to hit that subscribe button. Now at the beginning of this video, you could see a glimpse of police brutality in Germany. This was a Frenchman that was brutalized by the police badly at the train station in München. I'm going to put the link down in the comment section so you can see the whole video of what actually happened. Now, for many of us, we know that these videos are common all over the world. But what is so frightening about Germany is that when this kind of thing happens in Germany, the victims have no protection. They can hardly successfully sue the state. In fact, it is the state, the police, that ends up suing them for resisting police arrest, for resisting the police. In this case too, the man was asked why he didn't sue the police, and he said it wouldn't bring anything in Germany. So that's why the topic of this video is Germany and the fake democracy. Many of us come here in the diaspora and we believe we are now in a developed country, a democratic country. There is rule of law, there's fundamental human rights. But Germany is actually a failed democracy. And I'm not going to get too technical about this, but I'm going to give you just some insight of some things that indicate this. Firstly, there is no real separation of the three arms of government: the legislature, executive, and the judiciary. Unlike most democratic countries in the world, it never walked out its democracy. Germany never walked out its democracy. It never was a government of the people for the people in the real sense, because Germany was a monarchy before, and then they had a totalitarian, a fascist government under Adolf Hitler. Democracy was imposed on Germany after the World War when they lost. Even the few people that wanted to oppose Hitler were not thinking about a democracy. So this democracy was imposed on them. It was never something in the mindset of the people. It was never something the people fought for. There was never any revolution in Germany. During the time of the Hitler regime, go and ask most older Germans today. Many of them are gone now. They will all tell you they never knew what was happening in Germany. They didn't know about the Jews. They didn't know the evil going on in their land, that they just heard about people being taken away. So that is still in the mind of the German people. They are not used to fighting for democracy. And when the people don't have that mindset to fight for their freedom, their rights, there can never be a real democracy. So that's one of the reasons why Germany is a failed democracy. The mindset of the people are not right. The people hardly demonstrate. You see them demonstrating for animal rights, LGBT community. All those things are allowed as far as they don't oppose the government and the security of the government. Then they're allowed. When you want to have a demonstration in Germany, you have to register it with the police. When they see that the topic is sensitive, they will try to push you off by not allowing you to demonstrate on a weekday or not allowing you to demonstrate in particular places. Secondly, any kind of authoritarian regime, whatever you call it, fascist, dictatorship or so, they will build up a strong military apparatus to protect them, to help them to oppress the people. Now in Germany, after the World War, you know we had observer nations in Germany, USA, Russia, the French, and the British. So it was very difficult to build up that structure in the army again because they were on the watch list. The other nations had their armies here. But Germany started grooming their police. If any problem is going to come out in Germany tomorrow, it is the police that has been groomed over the years to protect the state and to oppress the people when they want to speak. That's one of the reasons you will never or hardly ever have success if you want to sue the police in Germany. The police in Germany can be very brutal. They are brutal on foreigners, they are brutal on elderly people, they are brutal in a way that is unimaginable because they don't fear sanctions. Where there is no sanction, there is no law. You can never claim that there is a law that exists in Germany that protects the masses, the citizens, that protects everybody. When there is no sanction, when that law is being violated, the German police hardly ever faces any sanction. In fact, unlike in other countries, you are going to have a very hard time filming police when they are doing something illegal because they have a lot of laws they sneaked in to protect the police, like don't film their spoken word and don't film close up. However, if you are making a video of the police today, they are most likely going to take your hand away from you and you would probably have a problem. So, where is the protection for the people that is guaranteed in a true democracy? And people, let me tell you this, not just suing the police, try suing any governmental institution, try suing any big company. You would see how the state protects them. Remember, these big companies and hospitals you see, they are key facilities if ever there is a crisis in a country or a war should break out. Germany protects these institutions. You hardly have success in court. And the way they do it is that there is no real separation of power. I said this at the beginning. The judiciary does not protect the citizens. The judiciary turns away. The judiciary will protect the state. You hardly ever have success. And to have that success, you have to have the money, or you have to be lucky enough that maybe an organization took up your case. Something else you should look at is the lawyers here in Germany. How many of you have taken up a lawyer to sue the police or sue any other institution, and at a stage you see the lawyer backpedaling, not wanting to do the case, trying to more or less get you to negotiate? Why? Because they are compromised. How often do you see lawyers coming out to speak against human rights violation with their chambers or united. Hardly, just hear one lawyer here, one lawyer there. To show you again that there is no separation of power in Germany, look at what has been happening under the corona. The government, the executive arm of the government, has been making laws without the legislation. They just made their laws infringing freedom of movement, cutting into various human rights, and they made those laws alone. The legislature, the Bundestag, was never consulted on them. So if they could do this with corona, you can be very sure that whenever the need arises, they would start making those laws for other things again. Something else you should look at is the tenure of the Bundeschancellor in Germany. That tenure is unlimited. That is not typical of a real democracy. Let's look at the German press. It's not easy if you are a victim of police brutality or any other injustice in the system. Very often, if you go to the newspaper, they will tell you straight away, no, we can't carry this story. Because they liaise with the police and the other government authorities. When they publish something, they will get a feedback. Why did you publish that? So there's no real freedom of press here in Germany. They would mostly take this story from the side of the police or the side of the government. Freedom of press in Germany is limited. It's not what you expect in a democracy. It is only because people now can be their own journalists and push things out there that things are coming out. If not, it's all a hush-hush system. Then two other things I would like to touch on briefly. Germany has been making a lot of effort to quieten a lot of disturbing stories about the extreme right winds that are blowing in their police and in their military. Right now in Germany, a soldier is having to face a court trial because he pretended to be a Syrian asylum seeker and went to seek asylum. And ammunition was found on him. There have been in the past certain terror attacks in Germany where people have been killed, and it is debatable if this was actually done by foreigners or if this is a move by some right extremists to build up hatred for foreigners. Now, I'm not saying that foreigners don't build shit here, but the military, some parts of the military police have come into Visier for being extreme right. Their WhatsApp communication, very, very disturbing. Even in Austria recently, military from Germany caught with false identity. So there's a lot of that. If you want to dig deeper, you might be surprised. And the last thing I would like to touch on here, because this also affects us in diaspora, is the way the German government goes around with our children. It is not new that Germany has rounded up children. Even during the World War, there was the Hitlerjugend. The government interfered into family, took children, even took them into war. Now, what is happening in Germany? Germany has a declining birth rate. They don't have children. They don't have enough children. And here are immigrants, foreigners, asylum seekers, coming in here having loads and loads of children. These children are a potential danger. So what you have to do is neutralize the situation. Previously in the past, anybody who is an immigrant in Germany can testify to this. If you had one issue or the other, you came new to Germany, you could go to the child welfare authorities, the Jugendamt, seek advice. You could go to one church organization or the other, get some help, move on with your life. Now, once you go to seek help, even if you don't seek help, they start coming to impose it on you. They would like to tie you up in a program, make you to sign contracts, insist on coming to your house to see how you are taking care of your children, impose decisions on you, what school you should send your child to, what you should do with your child, how you should take your child to this kind of group or that kind of group. And very often, they even take away the children. Kindersklau, child stealing in Germany. It's not my fantasy. It exists. Read it all. The government here in Germany, they have tried to encourage their people to have more children. Since it's not working and you can't produce more on that side, then the only other solution is to curb the other side or neutralize it by taking these children over, making them grow up without regarding their culture, alienated from the kind of upbringing their parents would want to give them. And when you weaken the culture in a society, in a group, you weaken that society. That's what the German government is doing now, neutralizing us by taking over our children, taking our children away from us. Go and look at the percentage of children that grew up in homes or foster homes. They never have as bright a future. Most of them have some kind of psychological, emotional issues later. Now, I'm not saying the government shouldn't take away children when they are endangered in their homes, but the rate at which it is going is extreme now, and this issue is not being addressed. Our children are being taken away. It's a way of neutralizing us, and we have to speak up. Please make your comments in the comment section. Maybe you also have made one experience or the other. Other people can read about it here. Why I made this video is so that we don't live in a fool's world. We don't live in a shadow thinking we're here, the rules are there, fundamental human rights are there. We're living in a democracy. Because Germany, the fire of fascism was put out, but the smoke still lingers.